Alright guys, here we are at Point Lookout. This is the haunted lighthouse right there. That is considered to be the most haunted lighthouse in the United States. Right in front of me, where I'm pointing this right now, during the Civil War, that was a hospital for the Union. Many soldiers were transferred here from Gettysburg and other battles, and many soldiers did die in that hospital that was there. If you look out this way, that's the start of the Potomac River that runs into Washington, D.C. If you look out in the distance out there, that's the Chesapeake Bay. Up that way, which we're going to make our way up there later, there was a prisoner of war camp that held Confederates during the Civil War. It's believed that over 3,000 men are confirmed to have died at the camp, but it's believed there are actually more. There is a monument up that way where all the remains that they could find, they buried. They dug up a lot of the bodies in 1911 and took them up there and buried them there if their families didn't request the bodies back. There was no DNA at the time, obviously, so only tags and certain things that may have been worn on the clothing would have been able to identify who the soldier was. There's a lot of ghost stories about this place. I mean, you hear everything from soldiers running across the road. That lighthouse is said to have many spirits, from Confederate soldiers to old lighthouse keepers. Now, back in the day, this point was actually a lot wider. There's been a lot of erosion over the last 150 years, and it's believed that out this way used to be a cemetery that was believed to have been lost to erosion. If you look behind the lighthouse, you see these buildings. Those buildings were used in World War II by the U.S. Navy. They had a little base thing down here where they would look for anything unusual coming up the Potomac to guard D.C. from any type of attack. The lighthouse is open the first Saturday of every month from March until November, and you can go inside and walk around. It's owned by the state, I believe, now. I have done that a few times years ago, and it really is creepy in there. You feel like someone's watching you if you get there early. You feel alone, and it just feels like someone's watching you. There have been pictures taken from the outside, like I'm doing right now, and faces have shown up in the windows. There have been stories about people coming down here in the middle of December when the sun is setting, before the park closes, and seeing what looks like Union guards standing on the porch of this lighthouse. I'm gonna get close to the lighthouse and see you there. Alright guys, here's the most haunted lighthouse in America. There might be something that shows up on video, I don't know. Any faces or anything. I'm the only one right here right now, so if there's any energy in there, it might show up. Since this place is right on the Chesapeake Bay, there's a lot of storms that come up this way, and it does take a lot of wear and tear. But this lighthouse was here during the Civil War. They did hold some Confederate prisoners during the war in one of these rooms, and it's said to be haunted by the former innkeepers. Now, people lived here until the 1980s, and there have been a lot of stories from the people that lived here, including hearing footsteps and loud noises and weird smells and stuff. But they said they never felt threatened by anything that was in here. It's a creepy lighthouse. Alright guys, we made it over to where the area where the prison camp used to be. It actually continues up all the way north up that way, but a few years ago they built this little small scale of what the prison would have looked like with the walls and everything. So as a Confederate soldier that was captured during the war, you would have been brought in here. You were pretty much been told keep 3 feet away from this wall, and if you got anywhere close to 3 feet they would shoot you dead. The guards would stand up there. Now most of the guards down here were in fact African American troops from the north. The reason being is because this was a swamp, disease infested area. None of the white troops wanted to serve down here. There hasn't been anything confirmed to my knowledge, but apparently sometimes maybe the African American guards would take out anger on the Confederate prisoners and maybe shoot a few at night. I never heard anything confirmed, but I heard rumors of that possibly happening down here. Obviously, this would have been out towards the beach, and they would take swords at night and stab it. The guards would take swords and stab it in the sand at night if any prisoner was trying to hide in the sand to escape. It was really harsh out here. There was not enough food. It was horrible conditions. It was a lot worse than Anderson's prison you may have heard of in Georgia, which was a Confederate prison for Union soldiers. But this was harsh. There were no shelters, so they slept in tents. Food was really scarce, so they would eat rats, catch seagulls, whatever they could get their hands on to get food. Disease spread like crazy. There was nothing done about it. And this is an area that has all 4 seasons. So in the summer, it gets hot, really hot and humid, up in the 90s, sometimes 100. In the winter, it gets cold. It can get down to 0 and snow a lot. So, and this is right on the water, so the wind in the winter would be horrible. So obviously this would be the ultimate hell to be in for a prison. Now, we haven't caught anything weird or paranormal yet. I mean, it does feel weird being here all alone and knowing that this place is haunted. But haven't seen anything yet, and I'm not going to lie and make up stuff. As you know earlier, I was down by the White House, which is this building, and the hospital I told you about, this is how it looked. So it was right there, and that held Union soldiers. I heard they brought some down from Gettysburg, all the battles. They would bring them all the way down here and treat them there, and then we're up here now in this area. This is where the prison camp was, and this is a map of the whole point. Like I said, this is the start of the Potomac River, and the other side's the Chesapeake Bay where the water is. So that's Point Lookout. The reason I really want to make a video down here is because I've never seen anyone document this really well. I've seen people come down here and do some paranormal stuff. I've seen people come down here just for the nature, but I've never seen anyone come down here and document the history. I mean, I'm sure some people on YouTube want to see paranormal stuff. I mean, if anything happens, it happens. I'm not sure if we'll catch anything. We're all alone down here, so there's always a possibility something shows up in the video that wasn't here. But anyone else watching this on YouTube, this is a good history lesson of what this area was. And you don't see it a lot in history. You have to, I guess, be a really good historian to know about this place and know the history. But it should be documented because there were a lot of lives lost here. I know it was Confederates and the Union won the war, and the winning side writes the history books, but still, these were a lot of lives lost still. And there were even Union lives lost. Now we're going to continue up here. If you see that white building ahead, that's actually Fort Lincoln. Now the buildings aren't original, but there are trenches. The trenches are original. It's named Fort Lincoln because during the war, Virginia is right across the river, and they wanted to look out for any type of invasion because obviously the Confederates wanted to invade Point Lookout to free the Confederate prisoners. In March of 1865, Lincoln actually did visit this fort in person. So the trenches are original. They discovered this fort, I want to say maybe 40 years ago, and they discovered that the trenches were still there. And I think there was some structure pieces still left, but they pretty much rebuilt it to look like what it would have looked like. As you can see, I'll tell you some of the ghost stories, I guess, since we're right here. Ultimately, people say they see soldiers running across these roads and just keep running and disappear. There have been stories of seeing shadows. If you're in like a room or something, like you're camping here and you're in an RV, there have been stories of things shaking the door and like trying to bust it open, and there's nothing out there. There have been stories, the lighthouse obviously has a lot of spirits in it. There have been a lot of EVPs caught, and in the 70s, a big psychic medium at the time came here and did an investigation. And in a picture, you can look it up online, half of a Union soldier's like shoulder and his uniform showed up in a picture, and that looks kind of creepy. I mean, it does feel a little weird being down here all alone. You know that this place is haunted. You know it is. But I just feel like something's gonna pop out of nowhere. But that's why I got the camera rolling. If nothing shows up, we can use the power of editing to get that out. But yeah, this is where Fort Lincoln was. If you do come down here and you want to investigate for yourself, be aware that in the summertime, this place is packed. There are a lot of people that come down here for the beach and have picnics and stuff. So you won't really be alone much in the summertime. But if you come down here in the winter, or if you do get a camping lot and you stay here overnight, that's your best chance of experiencing something if you're looking for the paranormal side. If you're just looking for the history side, it's a really cool place. It's not visited by a lot of people. So for that reason, it is a very cool site to visit. Obviously, that's the Potomac River right there, the start of the Potomac. Again, here's another map with the pictures of how it looked at the time. We're right here where it says Fort Lincoln, up here. That's where we are right now. Obviously, like I said earlier, erosion has taken a lot of the point away over the last 150 years. There used to be a cemetery somewhere along here. It's said that there are spirits that go looking for their lost graves. That's been a story that's been talked about a few times. As you can see way down there, there's the lighthouse where we were earlier. Just so you know the area we're walking in. And there's the Potomac River. So let's go into the fort and I'll show you around. Like I said, this is not the original building. It is a recreation, but it just shows you what it would have looked like. That land across the river is Virginia, so they would have been watching Virginia very carefully because they did not want an invasion over here. They would have had cannons up here, and they would have kept guard 24/7 to make sure that no one got up here that wasn't supposed to. I think there were only a handful of successful escapes from the prison here. Not a lot of guys could get out of here. Like I said, I think it's about 3,000 confirmed that died here, but the exact number is not really known. Some believe it's up in the 8,000 range, which is a lot more, but we really don't know. So this is recreations of the little bunks they would have had. These are original trenches right here that they built way back in the war. Yeah, they would have had their cannons here, and they would have been watching for any invaders out that way. And again, there's the lighthouse down there. Yeah, I know the lighthouse does do paranormal nights. Well, they used to about 8 years ago, where you could come down here, and I think it was like $50, and the people that would run the lighthouse would have everything open up. They would turn the lights on, and you go in and pretty much do EVP sessions and try to catch voices. If you look it up, there are some videos of some of the EVPs that were called in the lighthouse. Some of them are pretty creepy, but like I said, there's probably close to 100 different spirits that are known to live in there or be in there. Me personally, this is the place that got me into ghost or paranormal activity when I was really young. I came down here and I was just amazed of the stories I heard. I personally never experienced anything except feeling like I've been watched a few times, and like I said earlier, being in the lighthouse and feeling like I'm being watched, obviously. And you know this place is haunted. There's just too many confirmed stories. You know for a fact with the history and everything that this place is 100% haunted. But personally, I've never experienced it myself. I've never seen anything. Some of the spirit stories are pretty much common as a person walking up to a person and you think it's a real person because they look real, they talk real, and then they just disappear. And that's kind of creepy. I know that there was a death here last year. A man, I think he committed suicide, was found dead on the pier over here. So I mean, that's a modern death, and if his spirit's here, then he's going to be dressed in modern clothing. So yeah, if you want to camp out here, which I am definitely considering doing this year, because I do have a tent. I guarantee, if you're open-minded and you're looking for spirits, you're gonna find something at night. It's just too creepy down here at night. Yeah, it's just a cold winter's day down here today. But I don't think we caught anything. So, I mean, obviously I have to look through this when I'm editing and see if there's anything that shows up. But I don't think we caught anything. I think we're pretty much in the clear. But, yeah, this is Point Lookout, guys, in Southern Maryland. You know, the reason I'm making this video is I've always wanted to see someone come down here. Some of the bigger explorer YouTubers and some of the maybe TV shows. But no one will ever come down here. Like, I'll try to contact them, and they're the guys, you know, that travel all over the place. Like on YouTube, I see guys that travel all over the country looking for cool paranormal spots and just historic places to explore. And I've tried to comment, hey, come to Point Lookout, Maryland. You gotta come down to Point Lookout. This place is really creepy. You gotta camp out down here, and they never make it down here. It's so rich in history that if the Confederates would have won the war, which who knows where we would be today if that would have happened, this place would be like one of the most famous parks in the country because of its history. There was no battle here, I know, but it was a brutal camp during the Civil War. And there's been a lot of different things. This was the Underground Railroad also, if I didn't tell you guys that already. A lot of escaped slaves in the South were able to get little camps here and get out of there and stay safe. It wasn't the best conditions, but they were able to get up here. And so this has Underground Railroad history, Civil War history, World War II history. I mean, even before the Civil War, it has Native American history here. It used to be a vacation spot, a really famous vacation spot before the Civil War for American, people from Washington, D.C. They would come down here in the summer. There used to be a hotel over there, and they would stay in there and vacation down here. So it has a lot of history, obviously. You gotta come explore for yourself. I'm gonna next go to the Confederate Monument, where all the bodies are buried that they were able to dig up, because they were obviously buried in shallow graves right after the war ended, and they weren't properly buried. Now I'm gonna go to that monument where they buried all the men that they found, and that's gonna be the last stop here. Alright guys, I'm at the Confederate Memorial. Underneath this memorial is where over 3,000 bodies are buried in a mass grave. As you can see, there's names all over with the state. This was built in 1911, like I said. Before 1911, in the 1876 year, that monument was built. Obviously, in 1911, the federal government came in here and they took and dug up as many bodies as they could find, and anyone that they couldn't identify, and returned to her family, they buried in this mass grave right here. So this is where all those men that died in the POW camp lay to rest. Right in here. There were Union soldiers that died also from disease and from other stuff in the hospital and stuff. They were buried in a separate cemetery to begin with, and in 1911 their bodies were taken. Most of them were returned to family. A few, including the guards, Union guards, were taken and buried at Arlington National Cemetery, where they lay today. So guys, that's going to be it with the video. I pretty much showed you Point Lookout as a whole. Right behind that tree line, there's another Confederate memorial that kind of has states and different things over there. But it's not really much. This is where they're buried. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this adventure. I hope it came out okay. It's my first real lengthy adventure video, so I know that it's probably not the best, but I hope anyone who comes across this video can enjoy it for the history and for the possibility of seeing something paranormal. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Fixed Image saying peace.